What's up, J Fusion fans, and welcome to another episode review. So, originally, this was going to be a superhero time review, but I realized I didn't have an updated version of the thumbnail yet. So, this one is just going to be a review of Machine Sentai Kiramager Episode 2. I am also thinking of reviewing Kamen Rider 01 Episode 27, perhaps, in a separate video. This is Machine Sentai Kiramager episode 2 review. So, before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that this video is not intended for viewers under the age of 13. Okay, so let's get started. Now, for this episode, it seems to be a focus on Senna, and there is also a bit of Tametomo involved here, so like the two of them kind of have their focus much more so than Sayo and Shiguru. Of course, there's also a lot of Jude involved, but nonetheless, I think there's a focus on these three rangers as of now. So, the gist of the episode, without spoiling too much, is deciding like who should be the leader. Actually, in the preview for episode 2, it was already shown that Juru was chosen to be the leader of the Kiramagers. But it is explained in this episode why he became the leader. Now, if you guys have seen episode 1, hopefully you guys have seen it already. Otherwise, this is going to become a spoiler, perhaps, but for episode 1. So, I guess I should say that if you haven't seen episode 1 yet, go check it out right now and then come back to this video once you're done. Okay? So, from this point on, I assume that everyone has seen episode 1 already. So, again, it's going to be spoiler land for episode 1 from this point on. So, like I was trying to say earlier, from episode 1, Juru thought that he's not worthy enough to be part of the Kiramagers, much more so being their leader. Considering that he's also the youngest of the team, you would think that someone like Shiguru would be much more suited to be the leader, or someone like Tametomo, who has more tactical advantages, I guess, or tactical genius rather, given that he's a gamer, and of course, when you are a gamer, you need strategy to win, right? So, in fact, in episode 1, Tametomo kind of served as the leader of the Kiramagers temporarily until today, where it was decided that Juru is going to be the leader. So, Tametomo had objections as to why Juru is chosen as leader, given that Juru shows a lack of confidence in himself as a Kiramager and again as a leader. So that kind of like mentality from Juru kind of affects how this episode goes. But his Hirame moments kind of come through. Probably this is gonna be the case for most of the episodes, if not all the time. So, Juru shares or makes his ideas on how to be an effective leader, or as effective as he can be as possible. Now, we also see a few more Super Sentai references, and that's actually quite an interesting thing to note for this episode. As we all know, from episode 0, actually, we do see the Scratch branded sports gear. Senna's track uniform has the Scratch symbol, has the Scratch logo on it, which is, of course, as we know, a reference to Geki Ranger. And for today, we actually have two other Super Sentai references. So today's monster is actually a rugby based rugby based Jamen. So this is the name of the monsters, the Jamen. And when I say rugby, by the way, the sport rugby, so his head is a rugby ball. And the while his head is actually based on a rugby ball, the rest of his costume kind of is kind of reminiscent of Yakyu Kamen, or baseball mask, which is a classic Super Sentai monster from Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger. So that is already one Super Sentai reference there. And for the next part, well, I guess this isn't really plot important so much. So if I mention it, it's not gonna be much of a spoiler, I think. But Mabushina is shown in a later scene reading a comic book. And noticing the cover of the comic book, there are 3 characters drawn on the cover. And they are two men and 2 boys and 1 girl. And they seem to be wearing tuxedos with red, blue, and yellow colors. And the men were wearing the red and blue tuxedos, and the lady was wearing yellow. And if you haven't guessed it yet, that is a reference to the Lupin Rangers. So you already have 2 Super Sentai references in this episode. Now, it may be possible that this manga that Mabushina was reading may be the work of like Lupin Yellow's best friend. So if we go back to Lupin Ranger versus Pato Ranger, it is explicitly stated that Lupin Yellow's best friend was an aspiring manga artist before they were turned into ice, and she actually eventually took the place of Lupin Yellow in a way, while the original Lupin Rangers were stuck inside Dogranio. And again, this is a nice reference to Lupin Ranger. So I guess these nice throwbacks or callbacks to past Super Sentai shows might mean that there could be more in future episodes. So keep your eyes peeled, and there might be some other Super Sentai references or Easter eggs in future episodes. So I guess it's one way to say, watch Kiramager. Now, again, generally the story is good so far. Some people might be annoyed of Juru's constant hinemaking, which is probably going to be much like Q Ranger's Yoshalaki kind of catchphrase. So if you are turned off by those kinds of repetitive catchphrases, then well, I'm sorry to say, but there's a high chance that you're going to be hearing a lot of it in future episodes, especially when Juru comes up with ideas on, especially how to beat the monster of the week. So yeah, if you are still interested in watching the show for other reasons, you might have to bear with Juru's constant catchphrase. So yeah, but I personally don't mind. Like, actually, I don't care at all. I'm just enjoying the show as it is right now. So the next part, by the way, is for this episode, we actually see the debut of both Sky Magin and Land Magin. So Sky Magin comes first and Land Magin comes in next. And as for the designs of the separate robots, I actually kind of prefer Land Magin a bit more in terms of the design. Land Magin's face actually looks nice, with the nose and mouth, making it look more like a super robot with a face. But well, Sky Magin was kind of okay. Uh, I think it's more like a support robot, given that it's quite small. So while I do see it as less powerful, it could be helpful in some situations, especially for rescue. So Sky Magin may serve as like either a distraction for enemies, while Land Magin offers the attack backup, and then for rescue related, for anything that's rescue related, like if they need to save civilians, then a unit that can fly separately would be much more help, especially if there are people stuck in high places or things or some situations like that. So again, the separate mechs for the Rangers. Now, this is actually a nice idea, and this may have been implemented before. I'm not sure. I don't clearly remember which Sentais do this, but yeah, it does happen, especially maybe in some Sentais where you later get smaller robots, like they act as like support units, like Red Puncher from O Ranger. Well, it's not actually a support mech, but an actual separate robot for O Red, but because O Red can pilot it by himself, and then the other four O Rangers can pilot the O Ranger robot, and they can fight separately. So, like for example, teaming up against one monster or handling multiple monsters at once, then again, having two separate mechs is going to be helpful, more or less. So, for this episode, I'm actually going to give it 4 out of 5. It was generally an enjoyable episode, and it has its positive points. So, anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you liked this one. Please do leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. And do hit that notification bell so you get the latest from JE Fusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you on the next Super Sentai review. Or maybe Superhero Time review. I made a mistake. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye!